Why hello there, Awesome Soul here, and another Dev Jam has dropped. This is Dev Jam number 5, written by Mark Simons, the CEO of Free Jam Games, and this is all about the Brawl mode. Or well, not all about it, there are a few other game modes talked about, and well, even Brawl mode itself isn't exactly one game mode, but I'll get into that later on in the video. Nice little teaser there. So a lot of this information is definitely something that is going to be nothing but good for Robocraft, I see. And I have seen a few people on the Reddit actually respond to the whole Dev Jam post that was made on the Reddit, and it seems like a few people are actually interested in coming back, which is pretty cool. But yes, obviously I should start at the very beginning of the article, so let's just go into it. He writes, as discussed in Dev Jam 1, we have been making a series of changes to Robocraft that are designed to allow us to improve the matchmaking so that we can matchmake parties effectively and more towards matchmaking by ELO, like most other arena-based games. He continues, we introduced the CPU to energy mechanic in the Fast and Formidable update, and we're able to improve the matchmaking by ensuring teams of randoms are no longer fighting whole teams of players in parties. We now want to introduce some more changes that we need to make in preparation for the ELO matchmaking, which will then follow a competitive seasonal clan league. All very interesting information right there. For those who haven't been keeping up with my channel and the updates with the game as well, ELO is basically skill-based matchmaking. So if you do consistently well, your ELO ranking will go up, but if you're consistently average, your ELO won't really move much, and if you're not really that good of a player, your ELO will be rock bottom, more or less. Or at least near the lower end of the spectrum. And when it goes into matchmaking, it will now figure out, okay, who's in a clan and what is your skill ranking. Presumably it's going to pull out the average ELO if somebody is in a party, rather than just the whole amalgamation of it. Or maybe not. I don't really know how that's going to work. They haven't exactly talked about that yet. I could sit there and speculate, but I think I will continue on with the article. Less game modes equals more game options is the title of this section. Our final aim for game modes is to have 4 options that will provide maximum flexibility and variety whilst ensuring the best possible matchmaking. This next update is one step towards this, as the pit and elimination modes will be moved to a new game mode called Brawl. The final game mode options we're aiming for are as follows. Number 1, Unranked Battle Arena. We will improve Battle Arena to make it work more with 5 vs 5 teams, which will improve matchmaking as well. So that way you can get, like, platoons versus platoons, or I guess they're parties now. Still not used to that. As well as add some fresh mechanics. No word on what those could be, but we'll just have to wait and see, really. There's nothing exactly to speculate on there. Your rank will not be affected by this mode, but you will be match made by ELO to ensure players of equal skill play against each other. Obviously, the whole rank that they're talking about is the league rank and the whole league badges that you can get. Ranked Battle Arena, the mode that I personally haven't touched in ages, and I don't really know anybody else who has, so hopefully we'll be given more of a reason to play Ranked Arena in the future. And this might be it. Here you will gain and lose rank in a seasonal basis. The Clan League will focus on this game mode. It will be upgraded to fix some of the current issues in Ranked. Not entirely sure what those issues are, but we will, again, just have to wait and see. Now, I'm going to skip over number 3 and come back to it after reading number 4. Custom games. Yes, the topic that has been discussed for a little while throughout the whole dev news post cycle is finally rearing its head once again. Custom games allows you to set up your own servers playing any game mode with your own game options, inviting who you want to play with as well. Now, and I'm sure pretty much everyone else, has been eagerly awaiting custom games. But just keep in mind, I know Before, they said that the next update is one step towards this, but I don't think custom games are going to be in just yet. We might have to wait a little while longer, because there is a picture that I will post a little later because it pertains more to the next topic I want to talk about, but it doesn't actually include custom games in that image, so we're probably going to have to wait for custom games to fully be its own thing and be fleshed out enough to be added. The next topic needs to be implemented and added to before custom games can really be a thing. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to custom games. No word here on if you can make like a public lobby, because it says that you can invite who you want, but can it also be made public where randoms can get in? That'll be a lot of fun. And it seems like we are going to be getting a whole lot of options, and obviously, once we get more information, I'm sure I will be doing concept videos on things I would like to see added to custom games. Now I can finally go back to point number 3, Brawl. This allows us to introduce a fun twist on the game at regular intervals, with increased rewards for your first victory in these game modes each time it is changed. So it doesn't exactly say how often it's going to change, but if you do get a first win bonus, it could very well be a daily thing, where it rotates every day, or possibly even sooner than that. Although I don't really know if that would be possible. Like, would they have to update the game every time they change this game mode? Or are they just going to have a back catalog in there with a whole bunch of rules and stuff? Obviously, if they need to add new things, they would need to update the game, but if they needed to switch back to like an older game that they already had in there, they could just swap it out without having to update. I don't really know. But yes, this is something that when I read it, I was completely on board with. This sounds absolutely fantastic. And interestingly enough, the reason that we haven't been having any of those sort of special events, you know, like Armageddon, that pirate event that we had a little while back, there's been a bit of a drought in those, and it would seem that Brawl is pretty much the replacement for those. I think is a much better way to do that kind of thing, rather than basically making every single game mode completely different just for this one weekend event. And not only that, right? It was pretty much only weekend events. So what if you couldn't play on the weekend? What if you were consistently busy every weekend? That means you could never play those events. And they would really come at very sparse intervals. This time, you're always going to have some special kind of wow factor into the game. And I can see this being massive for older players who want to come back to it, as well as just a nice little draw for people who are new to sort of stick around a lot longer. They're always going to be like, okay, what are we going to get next? You know, that sort of stuff. So, this week's update will introduce the new game mode called Brawl. In Brawl, you will get new game mechanics and new maps and crazy ways to play that will require you to build custom robots on a regular basis. Now, here's a list of things that might be in future Brawls. All game modes appearing in random rotation with the Pit, Elimination, TDM, Battle Arena, and new game mode options as well. New maps, possibly even maps made by the community in competitions. And I know that right there is something that a fair amount of people have wanted for a while. I've seen a lot of fan-made map ideas. Never really 3D designs, but it's going to be interesting to see what direction they take this. Will you need to work in Unity and do the map that way? Or can you just draw a sort of 2D above ground, like head-on, like looking down at the ground kind of image, and they'll make the map for us? I don't know. It seems like the direction they're going with these maps is that they're not massive, huge, crazy, fantastical maps. They're more simplistic or reworks, because the Brawl map that we seem to be getting in the next game mode is a Christmas-themed Helion impact crater. So there's huge present boxes all across the map, there's snow on the map, and there's a Christmas tree in the center. Although there could be more things, we just haven't seen them. So are we going to see things like that? Tweaks to old maps? Just for these special game modes? I honestly would like to see things like that. Just sort of a bit of spice added to the older maps, constantly rotating and getting brand new things that weren't there before. Maybe add more bridges, remove all bridges on a map. That would be kind of weird to see. I don't know, things like that I would be all for. But back on to the list here. Restrictions on which parts are allowed into the game mode to change your ability to build robots to win under these new rules. That's pretty cool. So I believe that the Brawl mode, or at least the very first Brawl mode that we're getting, will limit you from using nano beams at all. So no nanos and no healing as well. So it's kind of like the old days of Robocraft, like way back when, even before nanos. Although there's going to be ions and stuff, so it's not exactly the old Robocraft, but I'm sure it's going to please a few of the longtime fans that really want the old Robocraft back for some reason. Changes to the balance of parts only for this mode, such as thrusters having insane power or weapons being completely changed. Kind of like the way that the Pirate event changed the plasma. It basically made it a completely new weapon. Well, not exactly a new weapon, but it changed it enough to where you had to learn how to use it again because it had a very steep angle that it dropped off at. You know, things like that. I look forward to that as well. Shake-ups to core game mechanics such as no health regen, overclock, towers, scoring, etc. And even world physics changes, gravity, atmosphere changes, friction changes, and ceiling height changes. That one's pretty cool. So we could have a quote-unquote no flyers game mode where the ceiling is incredibly low. So if you did bring a flyer, you were more or less a hovercraft. You had to stick low to the ground, things like that. Or even like the whole world physics changes thing and gravity. Increase the gravity to crazy levels to the point where nobody can jump and nobody can get any air when they go off jumps, or like flyers couldn't even fly at all. Although that'd be weird to see what happens to hovercraft. But that, I guess, goes back to the other thing, where you have to build robots to function in this new game mode. That'll be pretty cool. If insane gravity ever happens, I could see that being a tanks-only game mode. But, I don't know. I'm sure they're gonna add a lot of other crazy things as well. And mind you, all of this can be changed in the custom game mode thing that they're adding. So, hence why I said that they needed to flesh out the whole Brawl game mode before really adding custom games. So, back to the article. This provides almost unlimited fun and variety that we can introduce regularly. Starting next year, we'll be happy to take suggestions from the community for ideas for Brawl, and we'll implement them as long as they can be done with a reasonable amount of effort. A new Brawl detail screen will show the details of each new Brawl when it goes live. The details of the first Brawl will be revealed in the patch notes coming this week. Thank you for reading, Mark Simons, Game Director and CEO of FreeJam, as he signed it there. So all of this is really, really, really good information, and I am absolutely hyped for all of this, honestly. Especially the custom game modes. That is something I've wanted for a long time, and is only going to be another draw for the game. Because when it goes back to, like, way back, like years ago, Halo 3, it had a massive custom games community, like an online community. Even if it was a console game, it wasn't the easiest to connect with people online that way. But it still had a huge draw online, and it would always astound me, the things you can do with the options they gave you. It was incredible. I mean, obviously there were some limitations, but the creative ways that people found to work within these limitations to make their own custom game modes within existing game modes was insane. So it's going to be really interesting to see how people create new things with the existing tools they give you, essentially. Now, there are a few things that I do need to quickly go over. Well, two, really. So, when it comes to the whole less is more section, and they gave us the 4 points, the unranked battle arena, ranked battle arena, brawl, and custom mode. Obviously, there's still going to be edit, test, your robot, and tutorial mode. Most likely, AI bots is going to stay as well. But the thing here, though, is they didn't touch on Team Deathmatch at all, which is slightly concerning to me because I really enjoy Team Deathmatch, and I'm sure a lot of people enjoy Team Deathmatch. So Battle Arena is possibly going to be the only thing, other than Brawl, but if there's no enticing Brawl game that you personally want to play, you're kind of stuck with Battle Arena, which is kind of sad. But then again, you do have custom games, so that kind of makes up for it. You can play Deathmatch whenever you want, with whoever you want. And if it comes down to the fact that Deathmatch is removed from the public rotation, be sure to hop on the Soul Squad Discord, link is in the description, and we will have tons of fun doing custom games with Team Deathmatch. Or we'll most likely be doing custom games with Insane Gravity or some other wacky stuff like that. The one saving grace here, though, or well, I guess possible saving grace, is that something like this has happened before. A few articles back, I specifically remember that they left the Pit game mode out of a list like this, and after the update had dropped, the Pit game mode was still in. So it might have just been the fact that even Free Jam has kind of forgotten about the Pit, because honestly, I don't really play the Pit, and I don't really know anybody who still plays the Pit, which is kind of why it's being pushed into the Brawl section, as well as Elimination. As fun as Elimination is for like the one random time you might play it, I can see why it's going into the Brawl playlist. Deathmatch, though, I feel it gets enough play to still be saved, but no, we'll see. Now, the final thing I do need to talk about is the part where they say that they're taking suggestions for game modes. There is a game mode that I have been sitting on for a very long time, and obviously this would be in the form of a concept video. The only thing here, though, is I never really posted it, mainly because I was unsure of how to format it. When it comes to my typical concept videos, I do, parts and all that, and it's rather obvious to say, here, look at this physical representation of this part. It's obviously this part, and you can see that this is clearly this part. When it comes to a game mode, you can't exactly show it off as easily, so I was kind of unsure of how to show it off. But the fact that they're actually looking for game mode ideas has renewed my inspiration to actually get this thing out there. I know exactly how it's going to work, I just haven't actually done any of the physical work. I've done the mental planning stages, I just haven't done the drawing stages. So yeah, if you guys would like to see more, I guess, game mode concept videos, be sure to let me know, because I do have one planned out, and I'm sure once the ball gets rolling on this whole custom games thing, I will come up with a ton more. And I know what you're saying as well. We haven't really gotten a lot of concept videos. Awesome. Where are all the concept videos? Well, I do have some of them planned, but they take a long time to actually make. It's a lot of effort, and I don't know. Sometimes you just don't have the inspiration. But with this announcement of custom games, it's definitely renewed my inspiration, at least for this one. And possibly, once I get that done, I'll have more inspiration to do more concept videos, because I've got a bunch of ideas planned out. I just haven't done any of the physical work for them. So, this has definitely been more of a longer video. Hopefully you made it to the end. Please let me know if you actually made it to the end. I'm kind of curious as to how many people get all the way here. So, without further ado, I will cut the video right here, because it's drawn on for far too long. I, of course, have been the Awesome Soul. I thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.